another episode of the Sealess Villains podcast. I am your host, AJ, the comic collector, and I'm joined with my partners in crime, Red, Luke, and Eman. Tonight, we've got a special guest on the show. You may have seen his work on variant covers for The Killing of Red Sonja, Deja Thoris, Vampirella, Trial of the Soul, Flight, Yule's Vision, and Snow Monkey. Recently, he created a variant cover for Image's Stillwater and TMNT's The Last Ronin, the latter of which sold out within 2 minutes. Now he's got a variant cover for DC's Rorschach, which you should all pick up. Welcome, everyone, to superstar artist Aaron Bartling.
Hey, Aaron, welcome to the show, man.
Aaron.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate
Red,
it.
I saw you clapping, but we didn't hear it. I saw you clapping. But we didn't. Oh, there it is.
Can I do it deaf way?
Yeah. Thank you guys for having me.
No, man, it's our pleasure. Seriously, this is it means a lot to us to have a superstar artist get on our show. To be honest with you, you are first. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah,
well,
we hope.
I'm even more excited then.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
How was your day today, sir?
It was good. I just was working, and that was pretty much it. Spent some
Yeah.
time with the fam, and so yeah, man.
All right, can you tell us what you were working on, or is that top secret right now?
A little top secret. Yeah.
Oh, a little top secret. A little hint,
top
maybe?
secret, yeah. I wish I could. I'll tell you this. It's I'm working on a vampire cover right now.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
that's a hint. That's a hint for everyone out there.
Vampire cover.
That is very cool.
Or exclusive, or
Everyone wants me to work on vampires right now. I don't know why. But,
now, so what we were gonna do is we wanted to do a little bit of an icebreaker for you. This actually was a question sent to one of our listeners, and they had asked us this question, but I thought it'd be fitting for you to answer this question since you are obviously our first guest. So for a bit of an icebreaker for our listeners to get to know you, we want to ask you, what are your 3 best villains and your 3 worst villains?
all right. Which one should I start with? Should I start with the best or the worst?
Let's go with the best.
The best? Okay. So number 1 for me, I would say Thanos.
Okay.
For sure. Number 1. And then I would say Kingpin. And then what's my last one? And then Joker.
Joker. All right.
yeah.
Okay.
Good
Why
list.
isn't Joker number 1? Hold on, there's going to be a lot of people asking this one right here. Why isn't Joker number 1?
Honestly, I just love Thanos. There's just something about him, man. I just think he's like, especially after seeing him on the big screen and just how well done he was. I think that's what made me love the character even more. But yeah, I would say Joker probably runner up. But yeah, I don't know. I just love Thanos. I think he's pretty awesome. So.
Awesome. That's cool. And what about your top 3 worst villains?
So this one was kind of hard for me, man. I was trying to think, like, okay, what would be the worst? So I kind of went off of like adaptations, like films and how they interpreted them. So I wrote them down so I could remember. But if you guys remember Enchantress from Suicide Squad, I couldn't stand her.
Oh man, that's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good
Okay,
one.
that is a good one. That one hurt a lot.
Yeah, that was god awful. So Enchantress, and then I will say I think the character is cool, but just obviously it was horribly done. But Mr. Freeze with Arnold,
Yes.
that was just bad. I feel like I really think that if they got the right actor and there was the right script for it, like I think it could be really cool. But
So you didn't like all his puns throughout the movie?
yeah, I mean, yeah, it was just like you couldn't take him seriously, you know. And it's like his story is actually really sad, and he has a lot of that character. I feel like has a lot of cool layers to him, you know. But it was just like because of the jokes and stuff, it just like fell really flat to me. But
See, in comics, Mr. Freeze was solid. He's a great character.
Yeah. Oh,
but in that movie,
sure.
it was just
it was
horrible.
trash. Yeah, it was trash.
Gotcha.
And then this one, I don't know what you guys will think, but Paul Giamatti in Amazing Spider-Man 2 as Rhino, I thought was pretty bad.
He's got some good picks. He's
So-
got
Those are
some
really
solid
good picks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought, yeah, Rhino was pretty awful. It was either that or I was going to do, I think his name's Topher Grace, the Spider-Man,
Venom, the Venom.
the Venom. That
Yeah.
was
Eddie
awful.
Brock. Yeah,
Ooh.
yeah,
That
yeah.
was so bad. Oh,
Guy
man.
that was in the black suit in that
Yeah.
Spider-Man 3 movie. I don't
Yeah,
even
that was
remember.
bad. So yeah, so that would be my top 3 for the worst. But-
And we'll do Venom as a runner-up. How about that?
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
So you've been doing some variant covers for a while now, but that TMNT Last Ronin really got you that notoriety.
Yeah.
How has your career changed since that cover?
So essentially, I went from being like a nobody, quote unquote, to literally overnight everything changed for me. Like it was literally that dramatic. Like it was like, I'd already done a couple published covers, but they weren't, nothing had put me on the map of being like somewhat more of a known illustrator, in the industry. So,
Right.
Dude, literally after that got posted and it started, kind of going viral, it was just like overnight, everything just changed for me. So, I think I kind of equate it to, I was thinking about it recently, and like, it's almost like a like a singer, like a musician or something, or even an actor. It's like you get you just need that one shot, like that one role or that one song, and then it's like these people's careers just explode overnight. Like, so I feel like that was kind of similar to what my situation where it was just like dramatically different. And
So you don't have to give names, Aaron, but did you get messages from like PR people or marketing people from certain companies that were like, hey, we saw this cover. Would you be interested in maybe doing a cover for us? Or what was that process like?
Yeah. I mean, like it was just crazy because, right after the cover got posted and, things just started exploding, it was just people out of the woodwork started hitting me up from, different publishers saying, hey, can you do this cover? Some of them were actual publishers. Some of them were like indie comics, just looking for, some type of commission. So yeah, honestly, it like I said, like it just changed overnight where I don't really have any like PR people or anything like that hitting me up, but yeah, just a ton of people either wanting, like I had a lot of people hitting me up for private commissions, and then obviously just cover work. So it was, the majority of it.
So now that the popularity has exploded for Mr. Aaron Bartling, is it difficult for you to go down to a Safeway and get groceries without people mobbing you and wanting an autograph? I'm sure something like that has happened, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, almost every time I go out now, it's like I'm literally pushing people off of me because it's just so overwhelming. They're like, "Hey, are you that TMNT guy?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's me." But,
How long has like your career? When did you decide to become an artist? Really?
So it's actually kind of a funny story because my mom was over recently. We were talking about it, and it's pretty like interesting because I didn't even remember this, but she reminded me that growing up, I mean, I was always interested in art, and I was, I would say I was always artistic, but I never really saw myself doing it as a career. And my mom would put me in little art classes here and there, and I'd have fun and enjoy it, but I didn't think anything like that serious about it. And then when was it? It was 2011. 2011 was when I started dabbling with digital stuff. And so I just started practicing a lot, and I started getting pretty decent at it. And then, and then it was, so I would say in the last 10 years is when I really started taking it seriously. And then, in the last year and a half to 2 years is where I'm like, okay, this is for sure what I want to do for the rest of my life, So But yeah, I think because of, over the past decade of working really hard and having a lot of failures and a lot of letdowns, there's been a lot of times where I've just wanted to throw in the towel, to be honest, it was kind of like, I felt like I was in this valley for a long time, and I was climbing this mountain, and I wasn't sure when I was going to finally, get to the top and see the horizon and what awaited me, so there was a lot of times, that over this past, decade, that I just wanted to quit. Cause it's like, this industry is, obviously you guys know, like, it's insanely competitive, so it's like,
so hard.
You're going up against so many other incredible artists, people that already have a name, people that already have notoriety. And for you to try to, come into this and like, be like, hey, look at me, like, does anyone notice me? Like, it's hard to do, so, and I didn't even over this past decade, I didn't even know if, I know there's the questions that we have later, we'll kind of segue into this, but I didn't even really know, if I wanted to do comics. I was doing other stuff with art before this, so.
Okay. So
yeah.
you didn't go to like any sort of traditional like Andy Kubert school or anything like that?
No, like, so yeah, I'm pretty much, for the most part, 100% self-taught. So
wow.
I would say the most, I've taken like a few community course, classes, maybe like a figure drawing class or, intro to design or something like that, but nothing on like going to a 4-year, art school or something like that. And then I did have a mentorship I did for 2 years. So I was under a professional for that time. That's when I learned like a ton, because this guy, he was actually working in the industry. He's working on movies. So I learned a ton from him. And then just, going on YouTube, watching other artists, watching tutorials, all that kind of stuff, just kind of, and then just practice, actually putting the pencil to the paper, I feel like that's like, you can watch as many videos and all that stuff, but until you're actually doing the work and putting the work in, that's when you're going to actually build your skill, so
yep. Right,
you can
right.
have a healthy balance of both.
You heard that, kiddos. See, look, even Aaron had to climb the valley. He had to work hard. He went through he's got such a good story, and that can be applied to anybody out there, anybody listening, is that just work hard. Yeah. Look for your dream, and you're gonna get there. Aaron's there, man. He's a living proof that this can happen. So it can happen to you guys too.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and like, I think that's what's been really exciting for me, especially the way things are going, is that I have so many times, that people would message me or send me emails or whatever, and just say, hey, I just want to let you know that you inspired me to get back into the arts, and like, that's the coolest thing for me to hear, man, because it's right. If I can encourage other people and I can inspire other people, it's like, I didn't set out to do that. That wasn't my goal. But, because of what I've gone through, like, it's inspired other people, other artists to pursue the arts, in this world, we need artists, you know what I mean? Like, artists are important, and so it encourages me when, I can, be a helping hand, or if people message me like, hey, can I get feedback on this? Or, hey, what do you think of this? Or, hey, can you give me some guidance, direction? Like, I love doing that, and it's like, personally, I think that there's been times in the past when I've reached out to professionals, and sometimes they don't even give me the time of day, and it's like, I get it, they're busy or whatever, but and some are cool, some will give me a little guidance or a little wisdom, but I want to be that artist that's like, that I'm like known for being that guy that's like, I'll go out of my way to help people out, like if
right.
they need that help, because I would want that for myself, I wanted that, when I was coming up, and trying to figure things out, like, I wanted as much information and guidance as I could get, so if I can be that for someone else, then cool, so.
Quick question on that. Were there any artists that you reached out to and they gave you something like inspirational that you can maybe possibly share with any of our listeners who want to become artists?
Trying to think. So other artists that I reached out to, you're saying?
Yeah. Did they tell you anything that kind of clicked in your head that made you keep pursuing?
You know, I feel like the resounding thing that was said is it's kind of just simple, but honestly, just work hard. You know, like
Right.
literally, I feel like that is the overall kind of phrasing that you know that people have told me. I can't think of any specific artists on the top of my head. I'd have to maybe like go through my messages, you know, on my Facebook or something.
Right.
But I feel like if I can think back of what most artists would tell me is just don't quit, don't give up, and just work hard, you know. And like a lot of times that means that means sacrificing, you know, and a lot of people don't want to sacrifice, you know, like if they would like if you had to pick, okay, it's Friday night, right? And your boys are, you know, call you up and they're like, hey bro, we're gonna go drink and watch a movie or whatever, you know, and it's like you got to make that decision. Do I want to stay at home and paint, you know, and draw and better your craft, or do you go out, you know? And it's like those are the kind of decisions that I feel like will ultimately dictate your future and your success, you know. Is that like I would rather sacrifice now and, you know, not hang out with people as much or whatever, and then like, you know, get to your goals and then enjoy the fruits of your labor, you know. Then you can go out more and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I'm not saying like all you need to do is work, you know. Obviously you need to have a healthy balance of you know, still having time away from the drawing board, you know, but ultimately it comes down to, yeah, if you want to reach your goals, you're gonna have to work, you know. So
Gotcha.
yeah.
Now going back to, you know, all the amount of time that you do work, I'm assuming you're working probably 10 to 12 hours a day at minimum. What do you do to center yourself after drawing for so long each day?
You know, just I'm kind of like a homebody. Like, and I know I feel like it's been even worse with COVID and stuff. You know, just everyone staying at home. But honestly, just spending time with my family. You know, like I like just you know, watching shows, watching movies with my wife, and just get some food and, you know, get some snacks and just kind of like relax. And I like a game too, so I like playing Call of Duty and like just stuff like that. You know, just to kind of like unwind and get my mind off of art stuff. So
Totally.
but yeah, actually, and a lot of people don't know this actually, but my day job, well, I guess art is my day job, but I actually work at UPS as well.
You know what? I saw that on your Facebook profile, and I thought that must be an old job thing that he just.
And I just never took it down.
Yeah.
So AJ lives in Southern California. So now that he knows this, I have a feeling he's going to be making some purchases online in hopes to maybe get an Aaron Bartling to deliver him some packets. Oh, you know what, Aaron? Since you're here, look! I have this copy of Stillwater, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
I've got a stack of TMNT Last Ronin if you want to sign them real quick.
Yeah.
Oh wow! Since you're here, if you don't, right here.
Can you just sign right here? But yeah, so I've been there for 6 years now. So that's kind of my benefits job.
Gotcha.
So I'm there just to, they have really, really good benefits. That's one of the reasons I haven't left the company. And, you know, being that I have a family and I have 2 kids, you know, it's like, obviously having health insurance is huge nowadays, you know, so.
Oh yeah.
Especially today, yeah.
Yeah, it's, and with UPS, I don't pay for any of my health insurance.
Wow.
So
Nice.
that's like a huge blessing. So it's kind of like, right now it is like, when I was talking about earlier, you know, going through the valleys and having the hard times, I'm in Southern California and, you know, it's like, you guys know, California is expensive, you know, and it's like literally the past decade, I've worked like 3 jobs to survive, you know, and that includes art, you know, so it's definitely been a journey, you know, that there were so many times I wanted to quit because it was like, I was trying to balance, you know, I've been married for 5 years. And, you know, I had a couple kids, you know, so it's like I'm trying to, like, you know, spend time with my wife and my family work 2 other jobs, try to get in art, try to do commissions and covers, and then practice as well to try to get better, you know? So it's like all these things are happening and trying to juggle it all and balance it all. Yeah, so it's
It definitely sounds like you live in California because you're
yeah.
balancing multiple jobs, a family,
Yeah.
a wife. Yeah, no, man,
Yeah.
that's totally understandable.
I'm on the grind. So, but the ultimate goal is obviously to, you know, one day just do art full time. You know, when I feel the time is right, I'll, you know, kick UPS to the curb and then just do art full time. So
I'm
leave,
almost
leave on good terms, of course. Leave on good terms.
Yeah,
Of
exactly.
course, that's more. Yeah.
because once you start using them for your artwork deliveries, you're gonna really depend on them.
Yeah, they're like, oh, this guy, just throw it in the trash. They're like, hey guys, just bring it in the back and burn it.
No,
I mean-
wait. He said UPS on a couple of shows. No, go ahead. Let him do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
He promoted us. He's all right.
I'm almost positive, though. I would say I'm no fortune teller, but with your rising stock, it's only a matter of time before you're going to be just doing this full time. So,
Thank you, man.
Man.
I hope so, man. I hope so. So I just got to keep doing what I'm doing and keep trying to work hard. And, you know, I think the doors will, you know, keep opening. So,
yeah. Are there any current contemporaries that you get inspiration from?
yeah, I mean, trying to think. There's a lot of just different illustrators, like not even really comic illustrators, but well, there's a lot of comic illustrators, but also, are you guys familiar with Magic the Gathering or Wizards of the Coast?
Yes.
Oh yeah, Watsy.
Okay, so there's a few illustrators that like I really, really admire and look up to. I don't know are you guys familiar with any of the artists from them, or Cynthia Shepard?
No, not me.
No, Tyler Jacobson.
I've heard of Magic the Gathering.
Okay, yeah, it's like a card. It's like a card game, but for comics, I mean, there's a lot like Alex Ross, Art Germ, Derek Chu's legit. I'm a huge fan of his stuff.
Yeah.
Who else? Ryan. I'm blanking on his last name. Ryan.
Otley or Stegman?
Ryan. Man, what's his last name?
Otley is the Spider-Man guy, and Stegman is more of the Venom guy right now.
Yeah. One of the. I can't remember his name. It's bugging me. But do you guys know who Marko Jerkovic is?
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah, huge fan of his stuff. Who else? I'm like blanking right now, but there's so many, like I can't even keep track. There's so, like if you go on my Instagram, like I don't even like follow like really any people. It's mostly just all other artists. So.
Right.
But.
So.
But yeah. Oh yeah.
So with all the variant covers that you're doing, what's the thought process on how you create those variant covers?
So for me, one of my main goals with doing any, whether it's a cover or just illustration, and I kind of started learning this in the past couple years, but one of the main things I focus on is storytelling and narrative.
Right.
So those are super, super important to me. I think that's what creates a powerful image, and that's what draws the viewer in, and that's what ultimately will I think get more sales, is because people like that stuff, or people love that stuff. So I feel like whenever I'm going into a cover, I'm like once I get the brief, I'm like I try to get to know as much as I can, and it's pretty cool because a lot of the publishers that I've been working with, I get early access to the comics. So it's cool because I'll be able to read through the whole comic, and they're always like for your eyes only, and like I'm like for sure, yeah, like this. I'm only gonna read it.
So you can't tell us who the Last Ronin is?
Okay, so that's funny. So actually with that one, they're like super top secret. IDW, like they have not released anything, and I can't even tell you guys how many times I've gotten a message or someone asking me like, okay, just tell me who it is, and I literally do not know. Like I have no idea. They have like really kept that thing under wraps. So that's the one book though that they didn't give me any. So you guys saw like the ash can, you know, that was released.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, so the ash can is essentially as much information as I know, like compared to everyone else.
Oh, okay.
Those few panels, you know, and like that was it, you know. So going into it with Ronin, it was tough because I didn't know anything, you know. I didn't know what was going on with the story. Like I mean, all I knew was that, you know, 3 of the brothers are dead. We have one final brother, which is the Ronin, and just go for it, you know.
Wait, what? 3 of the brothers are dead? Wait, what?
Like,
No,
wait,
just kidding.
what's going on?
No.
Wait, are you kidding?
So you're telling us it's Raphael? Is that what you're saying?
You got me. Yeah.
All I know is Kevin Eastman would personally kill someone if anyone.
Oh,
he would drive to their house.
Oh, I can't imagine how pissed he'd be. But no, they've honestly done a good job of really like keeping it under wraps. So, but yeah. So, I lost my train of thought. What were we talking about? Narrative. Yeah. So narrative. So yeah. So that's just my main goal of going into it is just like, obviously the art needs to be good, you know, but tell a story, you know, like what's going on, like what are these characters feeling, what are they experiencing, you know, and like and then, you know, just doing, you know, making sure that the lighting and the colors and all that kind of stuff are accenting what, you know, what's going on with the storytelling elements.
So there's going to be a lot more interior work for you in the future then, correct?
Interior, I mean, that'd be cool. Yeah. Like I've actually had a few people like hit me up and they're like, hey, do you want to do interiors? And I mean, it would be cool. I think I would love to do interiors with like my style, like a more like a really fully rendered out, painted kind of a look, you know, for the whole book. It'd be a ton of work, but I think it would look really, really cool.
I would be all for that.
So yeah, it'd be pretty sweet. So
how about storytelling or story writing? Would you take any part of that as well?
Good question.
Yeah, that is a really good question. As far as storytelling, I feel like my ideas would just fall flat or just suck. I feel like I feel like it's so hard to be original and come up with new, fresh ideas. So I feel like when it comes to writing, usually I just, you know, I try to stay out of it and just leave it to the, you know, the people that get paid the big bucks to do that stuff, you know. So
Leave it to the writers, basically.
yeah, leave it to the writers. Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of which, if you got to work on an ongoing, what character would you choose?
Ooh.
And the writer you would want to collab with?
Okay, so that's kind of an interesting question. So
Interesting as in breaking news that no?
We'll tag whatever writer you pick, you know.
So no, okay. So what I was gonna say is it's a little embarrassing for me, especially, you know, that this is a comic podcast. But so that question, because I'm so new to this industry and just new to comics, I'm actually not really familiar with different writers because I'm like so growing up. I would like, you know, I thought comics were cool, but I never really read comics as a kid. I don't know why I never really did. I wasn't a big reader, so I never really got into it. And until this past, you know, like year basically that I've broken into the industry is now when I'm starting to read the comics and like look at them. So it would be hard for me to say a specific, because I'm still learning like who the best writers are out there, you know, like it would be hard for me to say, oh, this specific writer I'd want to work with. But I mean, I will say, you know, whoever's working on Daredevil, if I could do Daredevil, that would be something that I would love to do because he's one of my favorite characters. So
You heard that here first, Marvel.
Marvel.
And I know Chip has done Daredevil. So
yeah, he's doing the current. I believe he's still doing the current run. Yeah.
Yeah, so if I got to work with him on doing some Daredevil covers, that would be like a dream come true. So
You heard it here first, guys.
On
yeah,
the See
Marvel-
This Villains
Marvel
podcast, Aaron Bartling would like to work with Marvel and do some Daredevil stuff. You heard it here
Aaron
first.
on Daredevil. Let's do it.
yeah, let's do it.
You know, because we have dozens and dozens of fans who's going to petition for this right here, Aaron. We promise you we're going to get you out there, man.
Oh man,
I don't think he's going to have to petition too hard for Marvel to make a phone call.
yeah, well, that'd be awesome. So
Man, those comic books were sold fast. Okay, he's not gonna have any trouble. Even these T-shirts right here.
Look at that. Look at that.
Look at that.
look,
Red is sporting the
Yeah.
shirt.
there you go, dude. That's awesome.
What a nerd. I'm not
We
gonna lie,
are.
I'm
We're
jealous.
total
I'm
nerds.
jealous. I'm totally jealous. I want that shirt.
Sold out, bud. Sorry.
That is awesome.
So speaking, I know we've gone into the collaborations, but as far as your future goals, what are your personal future goals as far as where you want to go?
So future goals, I would say for sure, kind of just what we talked about. Marvel is the next big company that I want to work with. I'd love to keep doing DC stuff, and just building my name and building my notoriety, and I just want to get to the point where. I wish we're back to normal and cons could happen again, because I think that's what I'm most looking forward to. Is just like I want to get out there and like meet people. It's great getting to know people over the internet and building a fan base with that. But it's like I think that's how a lot of artists really expand and grow their fan base, is by actually getting the face-to-face interaction with people and shaking the hands and just building relationships like that. So I think that's kind of my next goals. I'm not really worried about like, oh, I really want to work with this publisher, because I know all that will come, but I really want to just keep getting my name out there and just trying to get, like more well-known, I guess you could say, or bigger.
Totally.
Well, you're in luck that the LA Comic Con is actually moving forward with their convention.
Yeah, I saw that. That's like really interesting.
And that's right around the corner from where you live too.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm really curious, like how that will work out. So
Frank Miller's supposed to attend, so that's
everyone wears a mask and no one's handshaking with Aaron, but you can get an autograph. That's probably what's going to happen. There it is. Elbow bump.
Would you consider being an artist attending LA Comic Con, or is it still unsafe?
I think I'd be open to it. I think I'm sure I'm sure if they actually go through with doing it, they'll have like I know if there's a lot of people there, it will be hard, but I'm sure they're thinking about like preparations on like how to be safe with everyone and stuff. But me personally, I think I'd be open to it. But yeah, I'm just like over enthusiastic for getting back to normal with life and stuff. So
yeah. Now
We're
I know
all
we.
pretty much over this right now. Everyone's over this whole COVID thing. We just want to get out there.
I'm over it for sure, man. I'm just like, gosh, can we just freaking go back?
We need our cons. We need our autographs, and we need Red and AJ to be happy with their exclusives.
Yeah.
There you go. That's what needs to happen.
Amen.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now I know that we spoke a little bit off air, and you touched on this briefly. So you've never attended any of the cons, so you don't know how crazy it can be then, right?
No, I mean the only thing I can really say of like is living vicariously through my brother-in-law, he went a couple years for this past couple years, and when he would come back, he would just tell me like how he would take videos and pictures and kind of show me. He went to San Diego, and it just looks like insane, and I'm just like, man, this looks like, it looks crazy, but it looks like a blast too, so I'm excited to hopefully one day do that. So
Red and I have been frequenting San Diego Comic-Con for, I believe, the last at least 4 years.
Oh wow.
And it's intense. It's very intense.
Oh, it looks wild. Yeah. So,
I think artists get in for free. once you're kind of recognized by the big three, that you already get
Yeah.
the badge.
I do. Yeah, I do know people who they're not in Artist Alley, but they've worked enough in the industry where they've requested for the professional badge and they've gotten that. And it, from my understanding, it is a free pass. So for next year, you could definitely. I don't know the submission for that, but you should look into that and try
Aaron
to.
doesn't need to submit anything. He needs to just say, "Hey, look, TMNT, Last Ronin, me." Oh, boom, come in. We get you a booth. We got you, Aaron.
Honestly, it's actually kind of funny that you guys are saying that because I tried to get on Artist Alley. I think it was 2 or 3 years ago now, and I got denied. I got put on the waiting list or something.
Yeah.
For which con?
That would be a huge change, and in response from them that if they were like, yeah, sure, come, we got you, that'd be cool.
Wait, was it for San Diego?
Yeah, it's for San Diego. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Well, jokes on them. Now they're going to be wanting you to come down here. See?
He's gonna have his Pretty Woman, moment right there.
You know what you should do, Aaron? Is you make them wait. You make them wait until the very last minute before you submit. Like, oh, you know what? I'll go ahead and join you guys. I guess you.
Yeah, like maybe. Yeah, it's like so embarrassing because when I applied, like I was telling all these people, like, oh yeah, I applied for. To get into Artist Alley and like I'd have friends hit me up and they'd be like, oh, so what's the update? Did you get in? And, like I pretty much knew the outcome that I wasn't in, but I would tell them like, oh yeah, they're, they put me on the wait list. So, they're just waiting to accept me, and it's like, obviously I knew it was probably going to be a negative, but it was embarrassing to tell people, yeah, I didn't get in. So.
After this podcast, there will be no more waiting for Aaron Bartling. He's going to get into whatever con he wants. Watch.
I hope.
Yes.
Have any of the online stores have more of the? I should say, have more of the online stores hit you up to do exclusives for them?
Like are you talking just like retailers, basically?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh yeah, like it's been actually, kind of to backtrack a little bit on the question about what are my goals. So one of the other ones is to, most of the covers that I've done are all like retailer exclusives. So then one of my big next goals is to do a direct market, which would be huge, So if I can get a direct market cover, from like DC or Marvel, like I feel like, okay, now like not that doing it for, a retailer isn't as cool because it's still just as amazing, but I feel like that would be a little next level, to be able to have them directly contact you for a cover, I feel like that's when you really hit the gold mine when you get that direct market stuff. So
like a direct market exclusive of Daredevil, perhaps?
Yeah. Let's.
We're going to petition for you, man. Watch. It's going to happen.
Dream big.
Yeah. Yep. So.
Did you when you do these variant covers with the retailers, do they kind of give you do you collab with them as far as they ask you, this is how we want the cover to look, or do they just completely leave it up to you?
Great question. So typically there's some specific publishers that they conduct their business in different ways. So for example, Boom Studios, they really want to work directly with the artist, and they don't want the artist speaking with the retailer at all, like from basically beginning to end. So if I'm talking with Boom and I'm working with the editor and they're like, okay, here's the book, feel free to read through it. If you get any inspiration, any concepts, shoot it over. So I'll think of some concepts, some ideas, and then, I'll whip up a thumbnail sketch. I'll shoot it over to them. The editor will either accept it or deny it. So far I've been lucky and they always are pretty happy with what I send them. So, so I'll shoot that over, and then what they'll do is the editor will reach out to the retailer, say, hey, here's an update on the, concept, the idea and the sketch. do you like this? And then the retailer will say, hey, yeah, I really like that. Give them the green light. They'll get back to me, and then, you know, I'll move forward. Personally, it can be extremely frustrating because just the industry is kind of slow sometimes to like get back to you. So you can be like waiting sometimes over a week just to hear a response, you know, and like, so I personally, you know, with some publishers like Dynamite or whatever, like I'm working directly with the retailer and they don't care. You know, Dynamite could care less. So, which is nice because it cuts out that middleman. Because if if it's doing, you know, like with Boom, you know, Boom's been awesome. I love working with them, but just I would prefer to work directly with the retailer because it's easier for me to say I make some changes on the cover, you know, like artistic changes, and I want to see if the retailer likes it. It's so much easier for me to shoot them a quick email or a Facebook message and say, hey brother, what do you think of this? And they say, oh, I love that, or I kind of like the other one more, as opposed to if I'm working with Boom, it's like I got to send it over, maybe wait a few days just to hear back, you know, and like as opposed to just going straight, you know, straight shot right to the retailer. And then yeah, so it's, you know, it's all different. Like it just depends on how they want to conduct things. DC, they're the same way. They're like super professional. Like it's crazy because not that the other publishers are not professional, but it was definitely interesting working with DC because they're like, I had to sign a bunch of, you know, contracts and stuff with Warner
like
Brothers.
an NDA.
Yeah, like that kind of stuff, and like I had to like fill out some stuff for Warner Brothers, and they were, you know, they were like, hey, just like we need you to know that you can't be talking to the retailer at all, like throughout this process. And I was like, okay,
Wow.
sure. So they're like that, like, and the editor that I was working with, his name's Eddie. He's really cool. And he was like, yeah, he's like, just for example, we've had situations where they'll actually have an artist that will work on the cover directly with the retailer, and they will get to the final stages, almost to a complete cover, he said, and not really getting any feedback or approval from DC, and they'll shoot it over upon deadline date. And the editors will say, yeah, we didn't approve this, it's denied, and they'll like pretty much lose out on the whole cover. So like, he's like, you don't want to do that. You know, it's like, you want to work with us so that you can get approval. So it was like every single thing that I was sending them, they have like a chain of command basically. So it like goes to him, and then it goes to like sales, and then like some other people, and so they all have to approve it, as opposed to with like some of the smaller publishers, it just goes to them, you know, that one editor that I'm working with. And if he likes it, cool, you're good. You know, and typically I'm working with the senior editor, so he has like the final say on everything.
Yeah.
Right.
But
So
yeah,
Aaron, let me ask you this then. What was your process when it came down to the cover for The Last Ronin?
Good question, Eman. Good question.
My process. So it was going back to, you know, what I touched on earlier with like the storytelling. That was one thing, like going into it, I was like, okay, well, I don't have a ton to go off of, but, you know, I know that this is going to be a sad story. I know this is going to be emotional. So, you know, with working with Denton, we knew right off the bat, okay, like that needs to be the focal point. That needs to be the focus, you know? And then I kind of, you know, to be honest, man, like I forgot exactly how we came up with the ghost idea. I think initially we wanted to do all of them, you know, we wanted to do all the brothers, but it didn't come until a little later to do the ghosts. And actually the first concepts for the cover were to have the three brothers as ghosts, but they were going to be in the sewers. And so I thought like, well, that'd be kind of cool, you know, because, you know, obviously that's, you know, where they usually are is like the sewers, you know, unless they're like out fighting or whatever. So I thought it'd be cool to maybe have like this shot of like a sewer shot where they're same idea. They're standing there, the Ronin's in the front, he's crouched down, you know, one of the brothers has his hand on him. And then maybe it would be like a crack in the ceiling of the the sewer and have like moonlight shooting down in and have it all moody and dramatic and stuff. But then Dave, who is Denton's boss, he had the idea of maybe doing a cityscape. And so I was like, let's try the cityscape. So I just did like a quick little, excuse me, a quick little sketch of the cityscape background. And Dave and Denton were fans of Blade Runner. And so that was kind of so I went on Google and I started like looking at pictures of Blade Runner. And I was like, okay, what's the city look like? You know, it's very futuristic. And the book, the Ronin book, is set in 2077 in New York. So I was like, oh, this would be perfect because we have the futuristic city background. We can have the flying cars and all that stuff. So I whipped up something real quick and I sent it over to Denton, and he loved it. He was like, oh, that's perfect. He's like, Dave loves it too. So keep moving forward with that, man. So I was like, okay, cool. So I kept moving forward with it. And then I'm trying to think what else. And then, I shot all my reference. So most of my covers, I always shoot reference. So my wife is actually, she's a photographer. So we'll just like, I'll set up my lighting how I want it and stuff. And then I played the turtles for the cover. So like you can look through my like library of reference pictures, and there's like there's one of me crouched down with like a hood on, like as the Ronin.
Okay, hold on, wait a minute. So your wife took pictures of you in certain poses, and then that's what you use as.
That's what I use as a reference.
Inspiration for that is so awesome. That is so smart too, knowing that she's like an artist as well.
Yeah, so I'm like,
that is really great.
And most artists, like if you talk to any of them, like all the professionals, like most of them use reference. Unless you're some type of like crazy prodigy that you just look at something and you can remember how it looks. Most people can't do that. So most, even the classical artists, they all use reference. So if you want to replicate a two-dimensional image, to look as realistic as possible, using reference is like key, I feel like. So that's what helps me produce, the images that I can. So I shot reference, and I felt all of them looked pretty powerful, and they all had a good storytelling feel to them. And and then I just went for it, man. And then and it was nice too because IDW gave us a lot of time to work on it. I think I had a month to work on it, which was nice because most of the covers that I work on, I usually only have like a week, maybe a week and a half to work on. Like sometimes like I even had, you guys know Steven with the Comic Mint. Like he'll hit me up sometimes and he'll be like, hey, I have this cover for you that's due on Monday, and it'll be Thursday. And it's I have to decide, okay, do I try to bust this out or not? And sometimes I have to tell him no. Like I'll be like, hey man, I don't think it's realistic for me to do it, so I'm gonna have to pass on this one. And he's like, okay, yeah, no worries, totally understand. It was a last minute cover, wanted to see if you could squeeze it in, but sometimes it's like I'm not going to like I probably could have done it, but it wouldn't be my best work, and like I want to put out stuff that I'm proud of, and that I'm happy with, especially if people are buying it, and it's like, I want to feel confident in what the retailer is putting out and what I'm putting out. Yeah. So sometimes it's best to, it's a wise decision to just pass on stuff, So.
Are you a bit of a perfectionist when it comes down to your work? Are you really critical of the stuff that you draw?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like sometimes like I struggle with overworking a piece, and sometimes I can actually make it worse. Like it was better when I didn't overwork it. So that's something it's tough to find that fine line of knowing when to stop a painting. Because it's like you don't want to go too far, and it's like that happy medium. Like you need to render it enough to where it looks really solid and really good, but not too much where it's like you're just getting in there and just nitpicking every little tiny detail, and like for a painting, you don't need to have every little tiny detail fleshed out. It's like you get the focal points need to have the most detail, and everything else can have soft softer, blurrier edges. And, you know, when you look at an image, you know, that's painted that way, the human eye doesn't need to have every single thing perfectly, perfectionately, you know, painted and rendered, you know, so.
Now you mainly work in digital right now, correct?
Yeah, so pretty much everything that I'm doing is digital right now. I will do some stuff in charcoal. I'll just like sketch it up in charcoal, and then I'll scan it in, and then I'll like paint over it. And that's usually just for like, if I, you know, obviously most of the stuff I'm doing is character work. So just to get like the gesture down, like I'll draw it traditionally, and then I'll just scan it in, and I'll paint like under the lines. But something actually that I really want to get into is gouache. I really want to start painting in gouache. So I'm going to try to get some cheap paper and get some gouache paints, and then just start practicing, because I love to do, that's what Alex Ross works in, is gouache. And, you know, obviously legend, you know, but yeah, so I want to start doing that, and then maybe, you know, see if I can start doing some commissions with that, and start selling some traditional work. So
Do you prefer to do digital?
yeah, I would say it's tough, because I love traditional in the sense that you feel very connected with the art, if that makes sense. Like I love that like when you're painting, you know, like getting the paint on your hands, you know, and like hearing the brush marks, and, you know, like, or when you're working with charcoal, you know, hearing the charcoal, you know, pressing against the paper. It's just like it's kind of a therapeutic thing, you know, like it's
Right.
just, it's like a weird, it's hard to describe, but like a weird, just satisfying kind of feeling, you know. It's
Just
like,
put you in your zone.
huh?
Just puts you in your zone, right?
Exactly. So I like that. I like doing that and with traditional, but I prefer digital just because one, I'm more comfortable with it. Two, I've been working way longer with it, and it's just faster, you know, because it's like I can bust out a cover in, you know, a few days, whereas if I did it traditionally, it might take me like, you know, over a week to finish, you know. So
Gotcha.
For sure.
but
Well, I know that you've got you've got a busy schedule, and we're almost time to wrap it up here. But Eman had some lightning questions that he wanted to ask you.
cool.
Before we let you go, we got some
Yeah.
rapid fire questions for you, Aaron. All right. So these are questions that we're going to ask.
All right.
You don't get to think about them. It's just one of those things where the first thing that comes out your mouth. So even if it's like lettuce, just throw it out there. Okay. That's what we want to hear. All right, my friend.
Go
Aaron,
for it,
you ready?
Eman. That's all on you.
All right. Go. Soda or juice?
Soda.
Cookies or brownies?
Cookies.
80s or 90s?
90s.
Outdoors or indoors?
Indoors.
Favorite food at 1 a.m. on a Friday night?
Mexican food.
What car are you going to buy the moment you win the lotto?
Ferrari.
Who's going to win the NBA Finals? Lakers or Heat?
Lakers.
And who's going to win the Super Bowl this year?
No idea.
Oh, yeah. He was going through them pretty quick. That's good.
That was
He's like,
great.
no idea at the end. No idea at the end. All right. Awesome, Aaron.
Yeah.
Aaron, are you you don't follow that much into sports anymore, correct?
Yeah, I like, you know, I think the thing with sports is, you know, some people might not agree with me. I think not to get all deep about it, but I think that like my reasoning behind like not being a huge sports fan is I was a huge sports fan growing up, like as a kid and stuff. And then I was actually in the military. Some people don't know, but I was actually in the Army, and I think I don't know, it might be like a subconscious thing or something, but I think it always bothered me for some reason that that people like service members are sometimes they're not like looked up to or respected as much as like I wish they were compared to athletes. Like I feel like athletes are really idolized, and they're really like they're just kind of like put on a pedestal, and they're paid millions of dollars, you know, and like and so I think just being in the military and like having friends that got hurt and stuff like that, like it was for me, it was like I guess they weren't like respected or looked up to the way I felt like athletes were, and they weren't getting paid like what they should be getting paid when like they're putting their lives on the line, you know, like to keep our country safe, you know, and like to protect us. And so I don't know, like I think like a lot of it, I know that might be like stupid to some people, but for me personally, like that's kind of why like athletes, I feel like just kind of like have bugged me, and then maybe that's why it's like turned me off of sports, is that like a lot of them are just like super entitled, and they think like they can say or do whatever, and like yeah, so anyway, so I know that's kind of a random side topic, but that's just me personally, like how I feel towards it, you know, towards sports. I mean, I think like it's entertaining to watch sports from time to time, but yeah, I think that's just why I'm not like the biggest fan anymore of like of sports. So
One last quick question, sir. The tattoos on your arm, did you design them yourself, or was it an actual tattoo artist?
By the way, that was a question Red wanted to ask, but he didn't, and I think he should have. I'm going to put him on the line for that one right there.
Thanks, Kirk.
So all of my tattoos are they're like I thought of them, and I somewhat designed them like in a concept, but my tattoo artist is the one that ultimately executed them with like the final drawing and final idea. So
Gotcha.
There you go, Red. Did you see he answered your question for you?
We got you answered.
Thank you. I appreciate that. As an artist, you figure like they would draw their own tattoos, but have their own input on there.
And speaking of tattoos, like a lot of people hit me up actually to design tattoos, and I don't do them anymore. I hate doing tattoos just because so think about this, guys. So obviously, I don't know if you guys have tattoos. Do any of you guys have tattoos? Well, I see. Yeah. Okay.
I think all of us actually have at least. Oh, except for Red. Red does not have one, but everyone else.
So you guys know how expensive they can be. Obviously. Yeah. You know, like they can add up. You know, so a lot of people will hit me up and they're like, "Oh, can you design my sleeve?" And so I'll tell people, "Sure, but it's going to be $600 or $700." You know, full crazy illustration. I'm like, I'll do it, but it's going to be $600 or $700. And they're like, some people are like, oh, okay, sure. And then some people are like, oh, geez, that's way out of my price range. Thanks anyways. You know, and like, so it was happening so often that people were hitting me up, because you have to think about this. So I'm designing it. So let's say they spend $600 or $700. Then it costs them another $800 to get the tattoo. So then they're going to end up spending $1,400 or $1,500 on a tattoo that would have only cost them $800 if someone would have had designed it for, $20 or $50. You know,
Right.
But see, that's not your problem. That's their mistake for not understanding this.
Exactly.
That's not a mistake, though, to get an Aaron Bartling design tattoo. That's worth $1,500.
They don't know what they're missing out. Don't listen to them.
I think Red should get that TMNT Ronin chest piece on his
right on the chest, right here.
If someone did that, I would legit fly out and take a picture with that person. I was like, I don't care if you're in New York, if you're in Canada. I'm flying out.
I'm doing this.
You at your house for a week.
On the C-List Villains podcast, Aaron will fly out if you get a tattoo of the Last Ronin on your chest somehow, some way. Heard it here first.
Chest piece or back piece? Do it.
Yeah, I did ask Kevin Eastman for his autograph on my arm to get tattooed later.
Oh, nice.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, he didn't want to touch the skin that day, so he figured he'd just write it down on a piece of paper and then had the guy trace it. It would have been nice, though.
Yeah, that would have been cool. Okay, sir. Last question. Basically, if you want to plug anything that you want to plug, and are you taking, for our listeners, if they're curious upon getting a commission from you, is your commission list open, anything of that nature?
Yeah, so right now I am taking private commissions, but there's like a little bit of a wait list just because like I'm still working on published work, and that's obviously my priority.
Gotcha.
But if whoever's watching, if you guys, usually the best way to reach out to me is just my Facebook. I feel like that's how I communicate mostly with people. So you can reach out to just look up Aaron Bartling. I have a art page on Facebook, Aaron Bartling, and then my personal So feel free to, reach out to me on my personal. That's usually the preferred one of communication. And then also my Instagram is instagram.com/Aaron Bartling Art. And then I do have a Twitter as well. Not super active on the Twitter, but it's just Aaron Bartling as well. And then I do have a YouTube set up, and I want to start streaming at some point. I keep on saying that, and I've been saying it for months that I want to start streaming, but it's hard because, throughout the day, obviously we're usually working on covers or whatever. So it's hard to squeeze in trying to stream and then get, enough work done throughout the day.
Right.
Yeah. So, but as far as like my social media handles, biggest ones I'm active on is IG and then the Facebook. So
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again, sir, for being on our show, and we are hoping for all the greatest success for you as far as
Thank you, man.
art. And I know that within the next few years, we'll probably have to ask like your agent if we can like get you on our show or something like that.
He's a friend of the show. He's already. I'm with the DJ.
Yeah. No, well, yeah. Thank you guys so much for having me on, and all the questions were awesome, and so I just appreciate you guys, wanting me to come on and talk. So.
All right.
Right on. Hey, thanks a lot, Aaron. Thanks for being
Thank
a part
you,
of the
sir.
show, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Aaron.
Of course.
Thanks again for listening to another episode of the C-List Villains Podcast, your cultivators of the comic culture. Make sure you follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and subscribe to our podcast on iTunes and Spotify. All you got to do is search for C-List Villains. If you want to send us an email, you can contact us at clistvillains@gmail.com. Make sure you follow Luke Weeks on Facebook and Instagram, and join his Facebook group, Rare Keys and First Appearance Comics, also known as RKFA Comics. I'm your host, AJ, and you can find me on Instagram, AJ the Comic Collector. Thank you, and see you next episode.